President Trump, guys, this is like an editorial, but I believe this stuff. Trump has ended the war on business. He's ended the war on investors.
Right.
He's ended the war on success. He doesn't want to punish people. He wants to reward them. You can see the pickup this year in activity. This is great stuff. Well, and no, people working and economic. Listen, in the Reagan years, we went 4 or 5% over the whole period without inflation. In fact, inflation came down. In the Clinton years, same story. In the John F. Kennedy years, okay? Recommend my book, Maria, JFK and the Reagan Revolution. Pardon me for the plug. Yep. But it's all there. Kennedy had 5% growth after his tax cuts, and they kept the dollar steady, and inflation was down.
Yeah, the dollar really baffles me, because you would think as an economy gets better, the dollar would go up, Larry. That's exactly the opposite of what we've seen.
You're right, and that's something to keep an eye on. I would bet on it, but I'm not in the forecasting business anymore. But I think you're right. It hasn't gone down, and it had a huge increase, as you know, in, 2014, 15, 16. And we're still way ahead of that. But it's off 10%. I get that. And we'll keep an eye on that.
So I want to get your take on this spending effort, the rescission efforts to the $1.3 trillion omnibus spending bill that was recently passed. We are confirming that the president is working with the GOP leaders to cut billions of spending from that funding bill. And I guess he can do that and only need 50 votes in the Senate, right? What can we expect in terms of action on this? A lot of conservatives are upset by that bill. You know that, Larry.
I do know it, and count me as one of them. I think that impoundment authority or enhanced rescission authority, I think you're right, Maria. I think you're right, but I'm not sure. Reconciliation rules only once a year, once a fiscal year. I got to check that. I mean, I think the deal is if the president impounds excess spending, I think he just needs a majority vote in both houses to get that through. I think those are the rules.
Right.
I'm going to have to check that. The intention is great. The legislative legerdemain, we'll have to wait and see.
You know, Larry, there's an op-ed in the Journal today. It's called Trump's Irrelevant Tariffs that you probably saw by Dan Henninger. He's talking about a shortage of workers. Now, of course, we have been talking a lot about immigration restrictions and border restrictions. And he says demographics alone predict a worker shortage of 8.2 million people over the next 10 years, that there are jobs. There aren't the people in America to fill those jobs. And you say...
Well, I'm sorry. It just, look, Dan Henninger is a great friend, and that point of view is certainly important. But, Maria, I'm not so sure right now. I mean, the labor force participation rates and the employment to population ratios is still low. They're both rather low, which suggests that right here in the USA, we could have, I don't know, 8, 10, maybe 12 million workers with the right incentives and the right opportunities. Now, we are seeing in some sectors a bit of a shortage, I agree, but wages rising will bring people into the workforce. That's very important. So that's another reason why I don't think wages are inflationary. They're just good rewards for work. But, I got to believe, Maria, merit-based immigration rules, legal immigration, merit-based beats the family chain. I think that's absolutely essential. And merit-based will include a lot of people with good work histories, hopefully they speak a bit of English, they know a little about American history, and they will have skill sets that we can use here. So I think that's why the president's reform on merit-based system for immigration is very important.
And Larry, let me switch gears about the president's comments and attacks on Amazon. Do you foresee a regulatory crackdown here? How will things change for tech? And I don't know, a lot of people are uncomfortable when they see the president calling out one company. How do you feel about it?
Well, I understand a lot of friends of mine in business are uneasy about this. Look, the way I read it, I haven't had extensive conversations. The president has made his position clear. He wants a level playing field, particularly regarding taxes. So you're going to get a Supreme Court decision on that, which I think will bolster that view, and we'll have to work through. There probably might be some legislation. But he wants a level playing field. I don't want to judge Amazon. I don't know the beginning. I don't know the end. I'm not an analyst. But I'm just saying his principal issue here is to make sure that the online retailers paying the same taxes and the same tax rates at the state and local governments as the land-based retailers. I think that's a very reasonable point of view.
Larry, let me wrap it up with your plans. New job. What are your priorities?
Growth, Maria. Growth, growth, growth.
And a minute ago, you said Reagan years 5%. Could we get to 5% in the coming couple of years in the U.S.?
We could. It might not be forever, but, you know, we've had such a slow recovery, so-called. It's really a growth recession during the Obama years, not a real recovery. So, yeah, will we get 5% forever? No. But there's a catch-up here. You know, any economist will show you long-term trend line for real GDP versus the actual now. We're like several $1 trillion below where we should be based on the long-term trend lines. I want to get back to that full potential. And so somebody asked me, you know, what's the next big idea? What's the next big priority? I think the administration, myself included, we have to keep messaging growth. We have to keep messaging lower tax rates and incentives and rollback of regulations and energy. You know, as I said earlier, this is not just a rhetorical point. This is a gut point. President Trump is saying America is open for business. Prior presidents, I hate to name names, made a completely opposite point of view. Remember that?
Yeah.
You didn't build this business, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Making fun of investors, that kind of stuff.
Pay your fair share.
Right. Your fair share, and you know, let's attack rich people. Those days are over.
Yeah,
they're over.
Apparently, yeah.
The animal spirits have already started to jump under this president's policies, and therefore I hope for more of the same. And I want to devote myself to that message and those actions.
You got it, Larry. Great to see you. Thanks so much. We'll be watching.
Thanks, Maria.
We're all wishing you luck, Larry. Larry Kudlow at the White House today.